At the time I'm filming this video, we are officially at the end of the first quarter of 2024. Where the heck is time going? We're not getting that time back, so let's make the most of what's ahead of us. But it is good to reflect. And this type of reflection I'm doing today is pretty inconsequential. Let's be real. We're talking about fragrances. This does not have any real bearing on where we're going in our life. It just kind of adds a sprinkle and a dusting of joy along the way, which is cool. What I'd like to do is recount 10 fragrances that I have experienced this year so far, since January 1 of 2024 up till now, that have really had an impact on me, that I've been really enjoying wearing. There's been more fragrances than this that I've encountered, but these 10 are the ones that have stood out. In putting this list together, in terms of deciding what I wanted to include here, it was a little tough because I had to, again, sift through more than 10 fragrances that I've experienced so far and figure out, okay, which ones have really made an impact. And it got me thinking about this question. How do you decide how you feel about something? How do you decide that? Well, I believe that with something as inconsequential as fragrance, the answer is you shouldn't have to decide. It should be intuitive. You should just know. There should be no trying to think, do I like this or do I not? If the question is, do I like this? The answer is no, not completely or not yet. And that's totally okay. We shouldn't have to try, at least in the moment. If you want to come back to something later on, by all means, sure. So this is a little bit odd, but the fragrances I've included here are here not just because they smell amazing to me. That might be a little odd for some of you to hear. Some of you might be like,
of course, well, how do they perform? And what about the compliment factor? Those things factor in too, right?
You must be new to my channel. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just going to say those things don't factor into how I feel about a fragrance. What is just as important as scent for me, if not more important in some cases, is vibe. And the vibe is this inexplicable thing. It's the way it makes me feel when it's on my body and I'm smelling it around me. I can't explain it. There's some kind of synesthetic thing going on where it's not just a good smell going into the nose. There's a crossing of the senses, of sensory experience in a way, the way it influences how you see things around you, how you feel about people in your vicinity. When you have a scent that just resonates with you, it's hard to explain why. So that was me trying to explain why. And that is the reason why these 10 fragrances are here. They make me feel a certain way. That being said, they may not do the same for you, and that's okay. At the very least, I hope that if you do try them, that you will at least like them. And they will be linked down in the description. So let's dive right into it. I did try to order these up from my least favorite to my most favorite, but they're all here for a reason. They're all great. They're all special, but my taste was involved here. At the 10th spot from Ramon Manal, this is Siesta. And Siesta is such a powerful scent personality. And it smells like nothing else in my collection, which is why it stands out to me so much. It is a very powerful lemon and honey fragrance, striking, sharp, juicy and bright, but also sweet and warm. It's just a pervasive face that's made powdery by iris. There's some woody facets in the base. It just smells like an experience. It doesn't really smell like a person, but it is a personality in a bottle. Don't get me wrong. Worth a sample. Don't blind buy it. It might be a little strange to you. I think it's beautiful, but it is so striking. I'm warning you, it is a powerful scent. It may overwhelm you if you're not careful. You have been warned, but I'm digging it. Siesta from Ramon Manal. At the 9th spot from an indie house called Fzotic by perfumer Bruno Fazzolari. He was kind enough to send over 2 fragrances, one of which I actually still have yet to open and try.
I keep forgetting I have it. That's just what happens when you get fragrances every week.
But this is called Ummagumma. And if you're thinking what I was thinking when I first heard about this fragrance, what the heck is that name? Ummagumma is the name of a 1969 Pink Floyd album that I have not heard and really know nothing about, but apparently it was a pretty seminal album. Nonetheless, this fragrance, I guess, represents that, but more than that, it just is such a unique conglomeration of ingredients that is perfectly blended. It is primarily a tobacco fragrance mixed with labdanum. So tobacco and labdanum.
Ooh, this thing just takes the nose on a journey.
Tobacco and labdanum, it creates this dry, earthy quality that is at the same time sweet, sticky, and brown smelling. That's the best way I can describe labdanum. It's resinous. It is kind of viscous, but the tobacco really brings this counter texture to it, again, making it a little bit dry. There's also a beautiful chocolate nuance in here. Chocolate, tobacco, labdanum. Have you smelled anything that sounds like this? I recommend getting a sample of this stuff. It is different, but the vibe that it has when you wear it is beautiful. beautiful. It just resonates with me. What I love about this brand is if you go on their website, you check out their fragrances, they have a little occasions tab where they show you what they believe to be are the best ways and occasions to wear and enjoy the fragrances, which is awesome. I love when brands consider the practical nature of fragrance wearing. It's not just art. Yes, it is beautiful and artistic, but we wear it on our body into the world around other people, most of which who do not care about the art of it. So it's good to have some guidance there. Anyway, Ummagumma from Fzotic. Check out the brand. At the 8th spot is a fragrance I've worn once so far. I've really enjoyed it. I enjoy this line as it is, and this is, I believe, the one I was missing from the collection until, of course, they released more. This is from Brioni. It's so uplifting. It's a perfect spring scent. I just included it in my top 10 designer fragrances for spring. This is Brioni EDP Essentiel, and as the green bottle shows, this is green. This is springtime for sure. Could also be worn in the summer, no problem. A tomato forward fragrance. I love that. It's juicy but green, kind of fresh and musky, and there is this pretty pervasive sweet quality that I was not expecting. It might be tonka bean, I can't quite remember, but it kind of envelops the scent. It keeps it from just smelling like grass or like leaves or vegetables. There is this attractive, alluring sweetness that smells beautiful in the air. It's classy while still being fairly casual, I would say. Lovely stuff. Brioni EDP Essentiel. We have a UK-based indie house known as Neshama. They have a few fragrances in their catalog so far. All of them are wonderful and extremely unique and beautiful, yet wearable. And this one is currently my favorite. This is called Jasmine and Tobacco. Man, what a combo. I get this sweet, warm, spicy quality to the scent. Definitely an earthy, dry tobacco, a little bit of a rounded, opulent headiness from jasmine, but thankfully, jasmine is not super forward here, so don't be alarmed. I'm not a big jasmine fan, but it's definitely here. It's like the whole scent is just inside of a jasmine flower, but you're mostly getting what's on the inside. I see the color like red. I see almost a cinnamon feel that I don't believe there's cinnamon in here, but I get red hot spices that are almost ambery and definitely sweet and warm. It's a cozy fragrance, but it also has a lot of presence to it. It's something that will get attention. I would wear it night in or night out, but I would probably save it for the evening time either way. It's a beautiful evening scent, just fits that vibe. This is from Neshama. It's jasmine and tobacco. This lovely fragrance was my scent of the day yesterday, and yesterday was actually my first time wearing it. I did film a first impressions video. I'm not sure if it's actually out yet, but I hadn't worn it yet until yesterday, and as soon as I wore it yesterday, it had to make this list. I was getting beautiful vibes for most of the day, even though this is a primarily fresh and green fragrance. So naturalistic. This is from Giardini di Toscana. They call this Colonia Nobile. Man, this is so uplifting and green. It's very classic Italian, citrus aromatic. I don't think there's a ton of citrus in here, not that I get. Very grassy, leafy, fresh, but especially on skin, there is this beautiful warmth. It's a very interesting duality. There's a warm, vanilla-like, sweet, enveloping quality to it. It's just this depth that makes it hang around on the skin. Could be benzoin or something. It gives it depth. And for me, it was on my skin for almost the whole day. I'd say at least 8-9 hours. I was enjoying it thoroughly. It smells classy, but it's something that I would easily wear mostly for the daytime, and you could definitely get away with wearing it in just a regular t-shirt or something when the sun is out. Uplifting, but not your average just run-of-the-mill designer fresh fragrance by any means. No, a whole lot more sophistication than that. Beautiful stuff. That is Colonia Nobile. Check it out down below at the links. If you like Initio's Side Effect, you're probably gonna like this fragrance. You might even like it more than Initio Side Effect, and that is the case for me. Initio Side Effect, it's nice, but it's always been missing something for me, and this fills that gap. From Alghabra, we have Eye of 7 Hills. It does smell uncannily close to Initio Side Effect. Did they copy them? I don't know. We have no empirical evidence of that. We cannot prove that. It is pure speculation, but they do smell quite similar. However, as I said, I prefer this. It fills in the gaps. To me, Side Effect was a little hollow, a little scratchy. I'm not trying to throw a slight at Side Effect. I understand why people like it, but this just is more to my taste. It has more character to it, more personality, more presence. I believe it's whiskey and vanilla. It's spicy with like cinnamon and saffron. There's definitely an ambery warm base to it with a little bit of oud, but the oud is just mainly dry dry woods to me. Ultimately, it smells like a slightly more complex version of Side Effect. It wears beautifully. As with most of the fragrances from this house, it performs very well. So if that's something that matters to you, you're not gonna have to worry about it here unless you're going nose blind. This is night out vibes. This is maybe 2 to 3 sprays. Get close to the person you're with, either going to dinner, maybe just going to a movie, maybe just, I don't know, going for a walk in the park, whatever it is, it's gonna smell beautiful in the air around you, as long as you don't overspray it, because again, it is not shy. So good. I have 7 Hills, also amazing name, love this name, from Alghabra. One of the best inexpensive designer fragrances that I have tried in years. Inexpensive, at least from the discount websites. But man, I cannot believe how cheaply you can buy this fragrance for. It makes no freaking sense to me. It is amazing to me. This is Mustache Eau de Parfum from Rochas. I've been talking about it quite a bit for a reason. Yes, it smells similar to something like Tuxedo from YSL. Quality difference is negligible. And I just have a decant of Tuxedo that I've tried here and there. Have to really put them side by side in order to distinguish all the nuanced differences, but honestly, I don't really care that much. I'm just, again, following my nose. I'm following what feels good when I wear it. This feels good when I wear it. It just makes me feel really classy, really confident, but not overbearing. It's a soft, gentlemanly fragrance that sticks around, that does leave a beautiful trail, but will not envelop everyone around you in a cloud. This is lovely stuff. Check it out if you haven't already, and let me know if you already dig it down in the comments. The newest fragrance from the house of Goldfield and Banks, at least at this point in time, from perfumer Olivier Cresp. This is a flanker to a fragrance that I have not tried, so I can't speak on that, but I'm loving this flanker. This is called Silky Woods Elixir. Gorgeous bottle. As you can see, the name here is perfect. It's like dry, slightly dusty, creamy wood. If you can imagine dry and creamy at the same time, that's what's here. Sandalwood can often have that vibe, but there's also a good bit of oud in here, which adds a little bit more dryness. And it's sweet, almost vanilla-like, maybe even leaning coconutty, but not completely explicitly coconut. I don't even think there's coconut in here, but it's a type of sweetness that is kind of fun. It's an uplifting vibe, still nighttime vibes for me, but still does have a beautiful elegance to it. I am loving this stuff, again, primarily for the way it makes me feel when I wear it. My wife co-signs every time I've worn it. She says,
You smell great. What is that?
That is Silky Woods Elixir. I'll have a link to a sample hopefully down below in the description. At number 2, technically this fragrance was first released in 1925 and was allegedly worn by Winston Churchill. They have since reimagined it. This is from Clive Christian. It's called Town and Country. Again, the scent of this, really nice, really good. The vibe, can't explain it. Beautiful. It envelops you. This is a fragrance that might be made of some slightly more synthetic aroma chemicals, ones that kind of fill out the scent profile that allow it to push and linger. Whatever they're doing here, it works. I think if you look at the note breakdown, they show clary sage, ambergris, and sandalwood. I get that vibe. Yes, there's a little bit of a sweet herbal quality from the clary sage. This musky, kind of salty airiness to the scent, which could very well be real ambergris. If you guys don't already know, that's one of the most expensive ingredients in the world. And sandalwood, yeah, there's a little bit of a dusty woodiness down there, but I feel like there's more going on, at least more than they're letting on in most note breakdowns you will find around the internet. But it's lovely stuff. It's one of those fragrances that is pretty linear, doesn't change a whole lot. It is this interesting just vibe all in itself. Again, it's not something I would sit there and dissect, and it lasts a long time, almost like Ganymede vibes. If you've tried Ganymede, I get a similar feeling when I wear this. Love it. This is expensive stuff though, I'm warning you. Get a sample if you can. Again, I'll link to what I can find down below. Maybe even this little cute 10 milliliter bottle. It's beautiful. This is Clive Christian, Town and Country. And to be honest with you, here at number 1, I was switching this and Town and Country back and forth several times before I hit record. This is my scent of the day, and this is my first wearing of it. It took me. The fact that it made the number 1 spot and I'm wearing it for the first time on the day I'm filming the video, it doesn't have to mean anything to you, but it means something to me. This is actually my first time smelling it on paper. It's still beautiful, but this is edgy stuff. This socked me in the face when I first smelled it. I did film a first impressions video. Again, I'm not sure if you'll see that before you see this. Wow. This is from Thameen. This was sent to me by my friends at Twisted Lily. I'm going to link them down below, possibly along with the discount code if you're interested to check out anything there. This is called Chords. This is Thameen's newest fragrance, and it is what they call a cologne elixir as far as concentration goes. So it does have an uplifting, bright freshness to it, but it has legs. You don't see this a whole lot from major brands, but they did specifically say that they intended for it to have strong performance. So take that as you will. Again, your mileage will always vary. Don't buy it for that reason, of course. But this is edgier than I thought. I was expecting this to be an easy breezy citrus aromatic, and that's the surface of it. That's like, you know, the little bit sticking out of the water, but you immediately get the rest of it right away, and you get a lot of leather. The leather here is a little animalic. Honestly, the first time I smelled it, it was funky. It almost reminded me of a really strong Immortelle note. There's something about it that comes across syrupy and a little bit funky and sweet, but in the best way, and especially when you're smelling it around you in the air. And yes, I can confirm, at least for me, performance is just fine. I only sprayed this 3 times. Once behind each ear and one's under the shirt. And I think that was enough. I can maybe do one more, but as long as I'm not going to be sitting inside of a small room, because this stuff will fill up around you if you're not careful. So it is something that's going to be beautiful for the springtime. In terms of summer, maybe more for the evening, not only because of its strength, but just the vibe of this. That leather note is just a little bit more edgy, just calls for the nighttime. And there's honey in here, which I think adds a little bit to the funk. The honey and the leather working together, man, with woods, some tobacco, I think. Definitely some brighter like citruses like bergamot and maybe some neroli and things like that. Again, citrus aromatic, it's there, but huge legs, massive thighs. That's weird. Moving on. If this sounds interesting to you, check it out. Gonna link to what I can find down below. Once again, maybe with a little discount to save some money. I want to know what you think of these fragrances, if you've tried them, and if you're interested, again, links down below in the description to check them out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.